muted. Nope, there we go. um, Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Business English Idioms Challenge. Apologies for getting started a little bit later than I'd hoped to. There was a few tech challenges. Hopefully we won't be plagued with them as we go on. Today I want to get straight down to business. And we are looking at idioms related to starting work. One of them being getting down to business. Okay, I'm going to jump into talking about the idioms really quickly, but I would love to start with asking you a question. If you could visit any English-speaking country, where would you go? So you might be living in an English-speaking country right now, or you might never have visited an English-speaking country. No matter where you are on that spectrum, I would love to hear from you. What is your dream destination? So if you put in the comment section, if I could visit any English-speaking country, I would visit. Go ahead and tell me. I would love to hear from you. Okay, getting down to business, looking at idioms for starting work or projects. Day 1, we talked about what is an idiom. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I'm sure you probably know it's an expression that you have to learn. You can't figure it out from its literal meaning. I think it's worth restating, though, that these are really important for business English because they are frequently used by native speakers in spoken English. They're not used in formal written business English, though. So it's really important to remember that distinction. Tell me in the comment section, what was your favorite idiom from yesterday's lesson? Did you go and check out the resources in my free resource library? If you haven't, when this live is finished, I will put the link again in this video description. And what you can receive if you would like is the slides from the lesson along with the micro listening task that's at the end. And I'll explain about that at the end. Okay, so today we are looking at these idioms that are related to getting started. And we're going to start with the idioms in context. So I will read a very short extract and it will have all of those idioms. And I just want you to get the feel of them and start thinking about, do I know that idiom, or can I start to maybe figure it out from the context a little bit? Okay, the words. Oh, that's so frustrating. You'll have to forgive me. Another little glitch, if you will. The highlights have jumped around and they're not in the right place. But that's okay. Maybe what I will do is I will just skip forward a little bit and I'll go to the end where there is another version that we will read that doesn't actually have the highlights on it, because it might be a little bit distracting otherwise. Okay, there we go, made it. So, Janet Smith from Sweet Beginnings Bakery got her business off the ground during COVID. The venture had humble beginnings. That means it started small. Humble beginnings as she started from scratch in her grandmother's kitchen, jump-starting the business with a small bank loan for bulk ingredients. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea, but my family green-lighted my project and were so supportive, Janet claims. I didn't initially get off on the right foot, as I couldn't get enough bread baked per day, but that's a good problem to have. Her advice to aspiring bakers, that means people that want to be bakers, even if you don't have a commercial kitchen, you can still get a business off the ground on your own if you start small. Success is possible if you get down to business by taking consistent action. Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning again. Here we go, flipping through all these slides rather. And we're going to start with this one to get off on the right foot. Oh, goodness. This morning, I have not gotten off on the right foot with my tech issues and the slide issues. This live session today um, did not get off on the right foot. Okay, so let's look at what it means. I'll give you some more examples. I wanted to get off on the right foot with my new boss, so I arrived early on my first day. How did the client meeting go? Did you get off on the right foot with them? So have a think. What do you think that means? Well, it means to start something in a positive or successful manner, to have things go well. So there were tech issues when I logged in this morning, and that meant that I couldn't get started right away. And so I did not get off on the right foot. I didn't start in a positive or successful way. So we can also talk about to begin on a positive note, to start on the right track, to kick things off successfully. Do you remember we talked yesterday about kick things off and getting the ball rolling? Well, it's doing both of those things, starting but successfully. So we can start a project or a piece of work, but we can also talk about getting off on the right foot with someone. Now, usually we use this in the negative, and we would say, I didn't get off on the right foot with them. It would be more rare to use it in the positive. We use it usually in the negative. Like, oh goodness, they're arguing. They didn't get off on the right foot. They didn't start their relationship in a really positive way. Okay, what advice would you give to someone starting a new job to ensure they get off on the right foot with their colleagues? Have a think about that, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you want to get off on the right foot, it is important to, and then finish that sentence and put your answer in the comments so that you practice using the idiom. And I don't want to harp on about it too much. To harp on about something means to repeat something. I don't want to harp on about it too much, but I will just say one reminder that I cannot recommend enough that you use ChatGPT to practice these questions. Open up ChatGPT on your mobile app, click so that you can speak to ChatGPT and say something like, ChatGPT, I'm an English learner. I'm going to speak about my advice for how someone could get off on the right foot with their colleagues for 2 minutes. At the end, I will say finished, and then you will give me corrections and feedback. And then after you've done that, you can also ask ChatGPT to have a back and forth conversation with you. If you want more help with how to use prompts to use ChatGPT as a speaking partner, I'll put a link for my video that explains that in the description. But anyway, moving on, we are going to get something off the ground. We're going to talk about getting something off the ground. If you look at the picture, it's pretty clear, but what would it mean in a business setting? Here's some examples. They have secured funding. So to secure funding means to be successful in getting someone to invest in you or getting a loan, getting money. They have secured funding, which means they have the money they need to get their business off the ground. A second one, that project never got off the ground because no one actually did the work needed. We scrapped it. To scrap something means to throw it away or to stop it. So in the context of a project, if you scrap a project, you stop the project and you throw it away. Okay, so it never got off the ground because they didn't do the work. So to get off the ground means to start a plan or activity and to make good progress with it. So it is implying that something has begun and is really going well. And so in the context of a business, if you get something off the ground, it means that you started and you've built it and it's continuing well. So we talk about getting a business or project or campaign off the ground. Okay, a prompt for you. Can you share a success story of when you managed to get something off the ground against all odds? What made the difference? Okay, against all odds means even though it was difficult and it was unexpected that you would have success, you did have success. So against all odds means it was unlikely that you were going to have success. So have a think about that. I'd love to see your practice sentences in the comments. Against all odds, I got my small project off the ground because I did XYZ. So have a look at that sentence stem and see if you can share in the comments how could you practice using that idiom to get something off the ground or to get it started well. Okay, our next one is sounds similar and it's very similar in meaning, but there's a slight difference. We're going to talk about from the ground up. So the architect designed the house from the ground up, ensuring every detail was meticulously planned. Meticulously means very carefully. The entrepreneur built her successful business from the ground up, starting with just a small idea and gradually expanding into a thriving company. So it's the same as to get something off the ground, but there's that extra level of meaning of building. So to start something from the very beginning or the most basic level and to build something entirely new. So if you get something started from the ground up, you're starting from nothing. So we can say that as a different way of saying it. We can say to start from the ground up or to start from nothing, from zero or from scratch. We use from scratch when we're talking about cooking. So yesterday, my husband made bagels, honey bagels from scratch, which was incredibly impressive because they were delicious, but they were also hard to make. So he got all the ingredients and he did it himself. He made them from nothing. So he made them from scratch. So when we're talking about recipes and it's surprising that it was homemade, that's a good phrase to use. Like I made tomato soup from scratch, like completely myself. From scratch, from zero, from the ground up, we often use in a business context when talking about building a business from nothing, especially if we're talking about a respect that we have for an entrepreneur that's done that. We say, goodness, that person has a large business and they built it from the ground up. That means they were the one to do it themselves from nothing to build it and start it and get it going really, really well. Okay, here's a prompt. Describe someone you admire who has built a business from the ground up. This could be someone you know, might be yourself even if you're an entrepreneur, or it could be someone famous or well-known who you admire. So your sentence stem is, I really admire this person because they built and then maybe describe their business from the ground up. Or can you write your own sentence? Again, I would love to see in the comment section if you're able to. Okay, get down to business, probably one that you've maybe heard before. It's quite common. Let's look at some examples. After the initial introductions, the team leader quickly signaled for everyone to get down to business and start discussing the project details. As soon as the meeting began, the CEO wasted no time and got down to business by outlining the company's financial goals. Okay, they got down to business. It means they started, but in particular to start serious work, to start focusing on the important tasks or matters at hand. A matter at hand is a task that is of top priority. So if someone says, "Oh, what are the matters at hand that we need to talk about first?" It means like, what are the most important priorities that are right in front of us that it's really serious that we deal with? So getting down to business is about starting, but starting those important tasks. So we talk about getting started, making a start. Yesterday we talked about kicking things off or getting the ball rolling. It's the same, but get down to business is about work in particular and serious work often. Okay, how do you handle distractions or interruptions when you're trying to get down to business at work? For me, when I am trying to get down to business at work, I like to put on headphones if I am alone in my classroom, but I don't want to be disrupted by outside noise. So I find listening to music, especially with headphones, helps me get down to work. What about you? I'd love to hear your examples in the comment section. Okay, jump start something. We hired extra workers to jumpstart production and meet customer orders. We launched a social media campaign to jumpstart interest in our new product. This one is quite a rare idiom in that you could probably figure it out from the meaning of the two words together in this example. It just means to quickly start, to get going with kind of like a huge piece of action. Or it could be to restart something when it's going too slow. So it's about starting or restarting in a big, explosive, fast way. So you energize a situation, or you enliven a situation, or you kickstart a situation. And we talk about jump starting a project, initiative, or campaign. It's something that's really acting as a catalyst, like it's causing something to happen. Kind of like, and this is possibly where it comes from, when you jump start a car, the car is not working for some reason, and you can kind of shock it into starting. Okay, a prompt for you. What strategies do you use to jump start your motivation when you're feeling unmotivated or stuck? So when I feel stuck, I jumpstart my motivation by going for a walk. I always feel like being in motion restarts the creativity and jumpstarts more desire to get going on the tasks and to get down to business. So that would be my example. What about you? I'd love to hear yours. Okay, I think this is the last one. If I remember correctly, I'm going to talk about to give someone or something the green light. After months of preparation, the board of directors finally gave the green light for the company to expand into international markets. Despite initial concerns, the safety inspectors gave the green light for the theme park's new roller coaster, declaring it safe for public use. So give the green light. It means to give approval or permission. Oh, goodness. Apologies. I didn't change the image there. Should have had a better image. Although really, giving the green light is kind of like a catalyst. It is starting something in that it gives the approval for something to move forward. So give someone the green light is to give them permission to say that they can do it, or give something the green light is to give the approval to a project for it to move forward. We also talk about green lighting something or someone. And that is the context, I think, that it was used in that example at the beginning, that the person in the extract talked about my family green lighted my baking project. To green light, again, to give approval or permission, or to even encourage someone to move forward. If you could give the green light to one project, what would it be? Imagine any project that you could come up with in your country, in your neighborhood, or even like the neighborhood, country, or world, anywhere. If you could think, oh, it would be amazing if this would happen. If I could give the green light to any project, I would green light. What would you approve? What would you say should go ahead? Again, I would love to see your examples in the comments. Okay, let's look at all of the idioms in context again, now that you've had a chance to think about the definitions and how we use them. Janet Smith from Sweet Beginnings Bakery got her business off the ground during COVID. The venture had humble beginnings as she started from scratch in her grandmother's kitchen, jump-starting the business with a small bank loan for bulk ingredients. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea, but my family green-lighted my project and were so supportive, Janet claims. I didn't initially get off on the right foot as I couldn't get enough bread baked per day, but that's a good problem to have. Her advice to aspiring bakers: even if you don't have a commercial kitchen, you can still get a business off the ground on your own if you start small. Success is possible if you get down to business by taking consistent action. Okay, hopefully listening the second time felt a little bit more comfortable for you, as you have hopefully a lot more familiarity with the idioms. I am going to do a really short quiz today because I am actually working on adding quizzes into the free resource library. And so there will be lots of exercises that you can use to test your understanding of these idioms there. So rather than making the live too long with having lots of big, long quizzes, I just thought we would do a really short one today. So 2 questions. Number 1. When you're starting something entirely new, you're building it. A, get off the ground. B, from the ground up. C, get down to business. Or D, jumpstart a project. Which of those would fit into that sentence? Okay, number 2, I'm going to get myself out of the way. When you're ready to start working and focus on important tasks, it's time to A, get off on the right foot. B, give someone the green light. C, get down to business. Or D, get something off the ground. So what do you think would be the answers for those? Well, we would say when you're starting something entirely new, you're building it from the ground up. When you're ready to start working and focus on important tasks, it's time to get down to business. How did you do? Did you get both of them? Did you struggle with any? Tell me in the comments. I would love to know. If you're watching on the replay, I would still love to hear from you in answer to all of these questions and the prompts. And I go back and check every comment, so I would love to hear from you. Okay, a quick reminder that at the end of the slides, I actually have a micro listening task that you can use to follow what I call my loop listening method, which is about using repetition to really consolidate your understanding of the language and to give you that really useful exposure. So on the slide, you can listen at a fast pace and then a slow pace, and then there is a transcript as well. So I'm just going to let you listen just once. Hopefully it will work. It did the other day.
Have you noticed the tension between the new hires?
It's hard to miss.
I'm afraid they got off on the wrong foot and it's affecting everyone.
Any ideas on how to fix it?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Okay, so it's a really short listening task, and you listen and write down what you hear. And doing that can be really helpful for getting that repetition. And it's a really good micro listening task. So that is available on the end of the slides. These slides are also available so that you can review. And there are also quizzes that are going to be available. I'm going to be making. If you would like all of that, you can check out the link in the description, and you will be able to access my free resource library where you will find all of that. Um, Let me know any questions that you have in the comment section, or any questions or comments would be really great. I could come back and reply to them. And I'm just a bit distracted because I see a comment here, and I'm just going to address that very briefly. It says, "Hi, how to access your private Facebook group?" So Mo, thank you for your comment, and I would just say that I actually closed the private Facebook group. And the reason I did that is that it was getting more engagement on the Facebook page, and I realized I can still offer my free sessions and all of the free things that I was offering in the private group. I can still do that, but just via my email. So if you're interested in any of those free live sessions where we get together on Zoom, then you can still access that, but just through my email. So the link will be there when you join the free resource library or my newsletter. Then you can be added to the list to get information about all of those things that were available in the private Facebook group. So, short answer, the group's closed, but I would still love to connect with you in other ways. Okay, thank you, everyone. I hope to see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.